All right, everyone, so here we are in the kitchen today. I'm going to be showing you how I prepare a lot of these meat and cheeses for a big event. We have some of our staple favorites and staple goodies. I'm going to show you guys how I style everything down even to this giant block. Ooh. Let's get into it. Let's not wait any much longer. I'm going to go wash my hands, put some gloves on, and get everything ready. Alrighty, let's get started. Love this cheese. This is what she looks like out of the package. Bella Vitano Merlot has one in it. It's incredible. I'm gonna slice it down the middle. They're two perfect wedges. Now we are gonna repeat. I like to clean my slicer every time, so I get a clean cut. Now that we have our 4 even wedges, we are going to slice them this way, just like this. If you need to clean off your slicer, go ahead and do it. And then put your pieces off to the side so you can start doing your whole one. Here we go. Clean off that slicer. It doesn't matter if it's going to make a big mess, that's why we have the cutting board. We're gonna clean it off after so we can do our other cheese, but at least we'll get these 4 beautiful wedges out of the way. They'll be ready to be packaged. Sometimes when you don't do this, it leaves like a little bit on the top, so I always just recommend to clean off that slicer if you can. The whole thing about this business is aesthetic. If it's not perfect, the client will see it, I will see it, it'll drive me crazy. Let's keep slicing. We get 1 wedge done. There you can see there's a lot of pieces that come out of this cheese. You wouldn't expect it, but once we get towards the end, I usually don't include that last piece just because it's harder to stand. So I'll do those, and then this little one I'll just either eat it or disregard it or save it for an extra box or some leftovers for my family. So here we have 1. Let's do the 3 more. Now, my favorite way to package this cheese is kind of like in zigzag motion, so everything stays in its place, nothing gets moved around. I am just going to take it in the order that I sliced it. You can see from top to bottom, from big to small. And then tomorrow, or during our event, whenever we will take these apart, they are going to be in the refrigerator, so they're going to pull apart so easily. We're not going to have any trouble or worry about them breaking. There's going to be another cheese that I'm going to do the same way, so you guys can see how to cut that. So let's just assemble this and get it in the fridge. Now this way, I know that the cheese is not going to move. It is going to go sit in the fridge. Now we got our cutting board ready to do one of my other favorite cheeses. It's a beautiful blood orange cheese. I am excited. Let's cut it open from this big wedge into beautiful little slices. And we're pretty much just going to go down in this wedge shape starting from here. We're going to slice around here so we get that same shape. Not only is this cheese super delicious because it has that hint of orange and citrus, but it's also very beautiful and adds a lot of pop of color onto our gray spread. So I love using this type of cheese. I buy it wholesale. As you guys can see, we do make a lot of wedges from it. This, if I were going to use it for boards, would literally be enough for 5 boards. So it's delicious, it's beautiful, and that is part of the reason why we have it as a staple and why we use it all the time. Our clients love it, and we've really gotten great feedback about it. So once we have that type of feedback, we typically like to continue using those same items, and then of course use seasonal items and seasonal goodies that will be on our spread. Whenever we have this type of cheese that comes in wedges, I always package them like this. It is just to ensure that they're not going to move and no flavors are going to kind of mix. Alright, now let's get cutting into this bad boy right here. As you can see, it is a Monterey Jack cheese with habanero peppers. This bad boy is spicy. We're going to slice it into beautiful, even slices. I'm going to open it and we'll get started. I'm just going to slice it here so we get what we're going to use. You're probably thinking, what are we going to do with this? It's just a big block? Let me show you. So we're going to cut it. We're going to start here towards the middle since it's already sliced and nicely even. We're just going to go down, get a thin slice. And now we're going to slice it again in half. Okay, I want you guys to pay attention because this one is not a square. It's more of a rectangle. It comes like this. But we're going to cut it down this way so we get nice, even slices. And we're going to stack it like that. There's also a really easy way to cut this cheese, which is pretty much after you cut your wedge, you're going to cut it in another half in the way that you want it. And then that way you'll be able to cut those individual slices from the big half and not do it afterwards. You can do it either way. I'm doing it obviously the first way, which is cutting the big slices first, but you can really do it either way. You could also cube this type of cheese if you'd like, if that is the type of style that you're going for. I typically like when it is laid down in slices, it's just more aesthetic to me. However, you can cube it. I just have usually 2 to 3 other types of cube cheese on our spreads. Alright, now with this cheese, you guys see it came in a big wedge like this. I'm going to make it into 3 smaller wedges. We're going to cut it down this way and this way. Now we're going to cut and style one of my favorite cheeses in the world. Manchego is seriously delicious. If you haven't had it yet, I'm sorry to say, but you are missing out. You can always order one of our boards to try it because we typically use this cheese on every single board and every single grazing table. It's beautiful, it's delicious. The best way to cut it, in my opinion, is into beautiful, even slices. Right, I do have a commercial slicer that I could use for it, but I like to cut it by hand just because I feel like I get more of slices from it and more of an easy cut. So what I like to do is I like to cut it first into 3 wedges. Sometimes if we're doing charcuterie cones or a bulk order, I will cut it into 4 wedges, so those individual slices are a little bit smaller. But when we have tables and boards, I really like to make it look bigger and thick. Just because the slices are going to be bigger, you're going to see it more prominently on the board. So it's kind of like a texture thing. That way you can have different types of styles going on. But look how beautiful and even these manchego slices look. I mean, I'm literally obsessed. I cut it like this every single time. It is so smooth, it cuts like butter, for real. Our first box of our cheese is prepared. I might be able to fit a little Boursin in here at the top so we can save some room. So this is gonna go in the fridge. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 types of cheese in here. This is gonna look beautiful on our display. Now let's get started with one of my other favorite cheeses in the world. This is a French brie, so delicious, so good with pairings of honey, jelly. So here we go. First things first, we're gonna slice this down the middle, like that. Now we have 2 beautiful even halves. We're gonna go again down the middle. So we get into 4ths and down the middle. Now with most bries, because they're small, you can make them just into even slices, but what I like to do is I like to go starting from the corner so I can make them a little bit smaller. That way it just looks a little bit more even and neat. I typically get 5 pieces total from each wedge. Now what I like to do with this, once they're in individual pieces, I like to fan them out like this. Make it super beautiful on a board with all of the pieces. My favorite way to style this cheese is definitely to fan it out and show those individual slices. It becomes so beautiful and you can see the inside. You can eat the rind if you'd like, but it's typically not recommended. But I always slice it into little pieces like this. That way people can just grab it. It's really easy when it is on a table or a board if you are feeding a lot of people. This cheese is especially delicious. This is an English hard cheddar. This is how it comes out in a big log. We're gonna show you guys exactly how we cut it into beautiful cubes. So what we're gonna do first is slice it as so. Because it comes in a block, we wanna get them into smallest pieces as we can. So we're gonna take that whole block and we're just gonna take our slicer and slice it down. I would say we would do around an inch width of the cheese. And then you guys are going to see in the next step how we're going to get them into beautiful bite-sized pieces. And voila, now they're all cut. So we're gonna take our slicer again and we're gonna make these kind of stringy like pieces of cheese. Then after that, we are gonna take our hands and break them off into pieces. We're gonna get beautiful bite-sized pieces here. So you can add this to any table, any spread. I use this cheese as a staple on charcuterie boards. It's delicious. This is one of my favorite cheeses in the world. It just pairs well with everything. We're gonna do 2 styles of Havarti and make it into little thin slices. All right, so for this one, we're gonna make it into small cubes. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I like to cut it, just so the length, the girth, the length, everything is gonna be the same size. So I'm gonna cut it into 3 like this, and then we're gonna slice it one more time down the middle. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go in and do it one more time. Like that. Now we're gonna cut it into beautiful, nice, even squares. Where's the bar mitzvah? So we're just going to be repeating that process here. We're going to get that cube, that big cube, and then slice it down. I do this so we can fan it out afterwards, and it just looks very pretty. I love having different textures and different shapes on our tables and boards. It's just important to really get that luxurious look going. So we're going to do this to both the regular Havarti and the dill Havarti. I usually trim off the sides because I want it to look perfect, but I am a perfectionist. That is a step that you don't have to do. So keep that in mind when you're cutting. I just do it because it looks even better when they're kind of in perfect rectangular or square pieces, but you can have it in whichever shape that you think is the best. This was actually the last footage I got before my camera died, so I wasn't able to show you guys how we style the meats and how we cut some of our veggies and fruits. However, that will be saved for the next video, so I hope that you guys enjoyed watching us prepare and style some of our favorite staple cheeses. We use these all the time. We do get most of them wholesale, but it's so delicious. We love pairing these, and we love giving our clients a really big variety to choose from. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for more. We can't wait to show you what we have in store, especially coming up for the summertime. If there's anything specific that you want to see, do not hesitate to keep commenting and keep watching. We want the feedback, and we want to know also if you guys style any of your cheeses differently. We'd love to see and hear how you do it. So thank you guys all for watching, and we look forward to the next video. Love you guys.